Chapter 3, Part 3, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're enjoying the breakdown or the review of my book, Addicted to Being Broke. Let's talk about eradicating the poverty mindset. Please do engage in comments and let me know what you think so far, and we'll get straight into it. So chapter 3, we continue with the reason why people go broke and stay broke. So that's where we left off, and the first one is spending more than you make. So in this chapter, I break down my budget summary. So during my process of trying to understand exactly what's going on with the finances and how to get better with money, I started doing a budget. So it's like a monthly budget, and you basically put in your income and your expenses, and it's able to calculate everything for you. So it starts off in 2017, I was minus £650 each month. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to be down on. And basically this is after I got paid and after I just paid my priority debts and the important things that needed to get paid at the time. There was still £650 worth of things that had not been paid for. So my spending was much more than what I was making. And that goes back to that 1 minus 3. Like, you're just in so much debt because what you're making is not equivalent or meeting your expenses. So the result of that would be you're in debt. 2018, I'd managed to reduce it. So work in progress. And as I said, these things don't happen overnight. It takes time. I was then £346 in debt after paying all my priority bills and paying the things I needed to pay. This is still a lot of money. Any minus is not good. Who wants to go to work? As I said before in my previous video, work 9 to 5, pay all your bills and still have outstanding bills after you spent all your money on paying for all these things. That's not fun. Where's the money for taking some time off, having a weekend away, going on holiday, going shopping, treating yourself to dinner somewhere? Where's the money for that? It's not seen. And then we go to 2019. By 2019, I had £252 left after paying for everything. That was amazing. That was amazing because when I looked back, I just thought, oh my gosh, I didn't see how this was going to be possible. In that time period, I had a pay rise, had a promotion, which helped me to start earning a bit more money, therefore covering some of the expenses. But to be in a place where I had money left over was such a breakthrough, because I remember at one point when I went for a job interview. So back in the days, I had like job centres where if you're looking for work, you can go to the job centre and it will help you. And the lady said to me, she only has £50 left after paying for everything. So like the country is designed basically for you to live in debt. And I just thought, yeah, I don't think that's true. I don't want that to be my truth, that go and do all these things and you end up with £50. Like, what's the point? What's the point? So to get to a place where I had 200 and something pounds left over, that felt like I'm winning. I'm starting to win. I'm starting to understand something. And I'm so grateful because that continued to get better and better and better. Personal development for me is the key to everything. Working on yourself, developing yourself, your skills, your knowledge, the things that will help you make your life easier. That has been a game changer for me. And since then, I've managed to earn so much more money than I was earning before. So I can't not share the information and give you hope if you feel like you're in a place of, like, you're not satisfied with the place that you're at. The same skills that got you the first job might not be able to get you a next job, but if you continue to work on yourself whilst you're at your current job and add value to yourself, it probably will get you to the next place, and with the aim of getting paid much more, possibly even doing the same thing but getting paid so much more money. The second one is earning less than you need. So I talk about a job interview that I went to, and this was like my first kind of full-time work, and they said to me what the pay was, and I was just like, yeah, that's fine. But at the time I was really young and I really didn't understand what I was signing up for or what I was doing. The job was good, I loved the job, but it was much less than what I needed. So when I got paid, I literally paid my rent and my council tax, and that was it. That was it. I probably had like £20 left after that. But I enjoyed the job. But that's so silly. But obviously at the time I was really young. And this was before I had my children. Not understanding how much money you need to live off before going for a job. It's not excusable as an adult. When you're young, yes, you might make those mistakes. But now, as an adult with children, you need to break down exactly how much your minimum earnings should be to help you get through your day-to-day and your month-to-month. The next point was relying on one income. And I write in the book that from my point of view, relying on one income just feels like such a great gamble. This is because back in the days, I feel like people were able to just have the one job, and that job was able to pay for all the expenses and still allow them to have savings. And that's because maybe inflation was not as high as it is now. But now, having just that one source of income is so risky, and makes it even more important to have some savings put aside in case that employment just stops. But what I learned in this is sort of to protect yourself, is to make sure you build a skill or build a career that even if you were to lose your job today, you possibly could get like a contracting job where you could still continue to get paid whilst you look for something more permanent. But you've got the skills that you can use for other companies. It's not just something that you do for one organization and it's only useful there. Doing something that can be used preferably all over the world, but at least by other companies. A skill that is required, a skill that's needed. That puts you in a place where if something went wrong with the job that you've got now, you don't have it tomorrow, at least you know you can take those skills and apply them somewhere else and still get paid. So having one source of income is not the worst thing, but just making sure that that skill that you've got that's giving you that income can be transferable to other places to keep you earning money. In this section, I also talk about when you're younger, in your 20s, your 30s, you have so much more energy and ability to earn more money, learn more skills than you would do at 60, 70, 80. So it's that element of making sure you're using your time correctly, and trading your time for money tends to be the downfall when it comes to one source of income, because as I was breaking it down in that chapter, it's more like if you're trading your time for money, you've got limited time. There's only 24 hours in a day. Well, not only, but there is 24 hours in a day. And if you're trading your time, that's the maximum you can trade. Whilst if you're selling a product, then you can sell unlimited products within the 24 hours because it's not tied to the timing. So this was trying to break down how important it is to understand the difference. So if you've got items you can sell, let's say you're selling something for £10, you've got unlimited time in the day. It's not tied to time, so you can sell as many of those £10 items as possible. So it's just understanding, and that's where my understanding of starting to sell things online would come in handy, because as well as working, I've got this other income that can come in through selling things online. Next point is no budget. I spoke about this in one of the previous videos, talking about mental calculations, where you don't have a budget written down. You're working off your mental calculations and you're like, okay, so this month is going to be this. By the time you've spent your money, you're like, where did the money go? I can't believe the money's finished. I thought, but it's because when it's in your mind, it's all over the place. Whilst if you're able to write it down, then you're clearly able to see, okay, I wanted to do this, but maybe I won't be able to do it this month. I can do it next month. So having a budget is important for that basis. I feel like a lot of people think having a budget is you're on budget, like you're broke or you're poor, but it's one of the ways to stop you from being broke or poor. And it doesn't have to be like an extensive big thing that you're doing, just a simple budget. In the book, I've got a budget form Literally, you can write in it, and all it does is total income, total expenses, your total, and just a breakdown of money and what bills as it starts from your priorities. So your rent or your mortgage, your service charge if you have that, content insurance, your council tax, gas, electricity, phone and internet, and then loans or hire purchases that you may have, your petrol, groceries. Just being able to break it down to see roughly or exactly how much your outgoings are in comparison to your income goes a long way in helping you manage your money. The next point is depending on credit. There was an article that I referred to in the book. They explored UK's attitude to finance and found that 29% of Brits have little or no financial knowledge, rising to 44% among 16 to 24-year-olds, whilst 82% with credit cards debt also have unsecured debt elsewhere. So it's just talking about once you start living and depend on credit in one aspect, you're going to try and find in all the other different aspects, which is fine if you know how to work with it. As I said, credit cards can be good if you know how to work with it. Being able to pay little to no interest could work in your favor, but if that's the way you're living your life and you end up losing your job that's paying for it, then how do you continue that lifestyle? I talk about trying to impress people. At one point when I was young, I managed to get a really nice car at the time. Like, fixing the car itself was quite expensive, so it's like trying to impress others in a sense of, did you buy that car because that's what you could afford or that's what you needed, or did you just buy it because it looked good? And it looked good to who? Because I probably could have saved the same way I got my first car, saved some money and bought it out, right? So it's one of those things, and being able to understand when you're spending your money, why are you spending your money? What is it for? And the last one is just talking about investing in the wrong thing. I always say one of the most important things you can invest in is investing in yourself, investing in your knowledge, your skills, your self-care. All of those things are really important. And then next, you look at things that you can invest in that will add value to your finances. At this point, I was trying to explore and understand more about investing, because at this point, I'd not invested in anything that was giving me or would give me a positive future outlook. It was just spend, pay. If you are blessed to live to an old age, when you feel so much better if you started investing at a young age, and now in your old age you're able to still use that investment or the profits from that investment to maintain your lifestyle. So learning to invest in the right things is basically what I was trying to put across. And I conclude this chapter by writing about that loan that I spoke about earlier on, and basically was saying it's a loan I took out for about 1,700. And the initial payback was supposed to be about 2,700. And during the process of taking the loan, I ended up falling into debt. So I'd fall behind with their payments, but still make up their payments. So when it came to paying the last payment, they turn around and say, oh no, you still owe. So this was the last payment of the 2,700 I was initially supposed to pay. But they turn around and say, oh no, you still owe another 2,700. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I was just in disbelief, because I'd understand this, okay, if there's a fee charged and you now owe maybe another £500, another £600. I was like, that's the whole payment again. So you made a total of about 4,400. And I was just like, this is impossible. This is actual bullying. This is bullying from financial providers. This can't be right. So I ended up sort of getting into back and forth with them, and I wrote to them and I said to them, this is not acceptable. I showed them all the proof of payments that I made. So it's supposed to be 24 payments in total. I showed them all the 24 payments, and they just didn't care. They actually didn't care. So I did a stage 1 complaint, and I think they just responded with some nonsense response or something. And I did another complaint, and it basically, I ended up taking it to the Financial Ombudsman, who is like an independent body who looks into complaints. So there's different ones for different sectors, but this one is like for the financial one. And they were able to look into it, and luckily I didn't have to pay any additional money. And I actually ended up being rewarded back the money that I'd paid. I was in disbelief, and basically they said they did their own investigations, and it turned out that they shouldn't have given me the loan in the first place. So as a lender, they were acting irresponsibly. I'm not one to complain about that, but I ended up basically not having to pay more, but getting back the money that I paid. And it was a win-win. And the biggest win for me in that lesson is really paying attention to the interest I'm charged when I'm taking out a loan, or if I'm getting credit for something, really looking into it. How much am I actually paying them back? Does it make sense? Is it acceptable? Because if it's not, then there's no point in engaging it in the first place. And I totally understand it's through desperation and through desperate measure that sometimes you have to take that loan. But if you can, it's best to just shop around and see if you can find something better. Because if you tie yourself into something that's going to be quite difficult for you to pay back, then you're just putting yourself in more problems. That concludes chapter 3. I really hope you've enjoyed my breakdown of the chapters. If you have, please do put in the comments. And yeah, I will see you in my next video, which will be chapter 4.